we can probably answer them we will answer them in real time. So let's get into today's subjects. The first hot topic subject is, of course, about the late President Jimmy Carter. And then our next topic will also be about what we can do to prepare ourselves for a second Trump administration. So, Chris, we're going to start with you. Jimmy Carter, what do you remember about him?
I think Jimmy Carter was a great president. He was before his time. He was a guy that actually wanted to do great things. He had one mishap, and because he had that one mishap, that is, to me, where we are as a country. We went down the slippery slope with Reagan, and now we're where we are right now. I really like everything that Jimmy Carter did, especially after being president. He was a great former president, and I have nothing but good things to say about Jimmy Carter, and I hope that someday we'll have another president that was like him, and hopefully will be a two-term and a more successful president in the eyes of Americans.
One of the things I loved about him and his wife Rose was that even in retirement, they were very, very humble. And the fact that this man, up until to the point where he couldn't, was climbing houses and building homes for Habitat for Humanity, he was the true servant leader. And he only had one wish before, he wanted to make it to 100, which he did, but he also wanted to be around to vote for Kamala Harris. So he made his 2 milestone goals. But one of the things I did learn about Jimmy Carter that I didn't know about was the fact that he was the president who really took an interest in solar energy,
Right.
as well as trying to figure out how to be more efficient on fossil fuels. So that was one thing that he did that caught my eye, that this man was really ahead of his time with the solar energy.
So, no, I mean, tremendous personal character, enormous. You couldn't be more opposite between Jimmy Carter and what we have coming in January. I mean, later on this month. I mean, complete polar opposites. The two men couldn't be further apart in morality and values, so I mean, a very impactful post presidency, and so in examining Carter's legacy, you have to examine what came after him as well, and so
Which was Ronald Reagan.
which is Reagan, and so. I mean, and in examining that, you have a president that came in with Reaganomics that said deficits don't matter and balloon the federal deficit. At the same time,
Trickle
though,
down.
right? But
They
at,
never
and at the
trickle
same,
down.
but at the same time, you have to wonder though, a second Carter term and what impact that would have had on America, and how would that have pushed forward social progress in America. But the onset of a Reagan term, where he ballooned military spending with a host of new programs and Star Wars and MX missiles and all kinds of stuff, so that Reagan resulted in the collapse of the Soviet Union trying to keep up economically. So you have one, Reagan came in, ballooned the deficit, horrible on domestic programs, but changed the world internationally that oversaw the collapse. Carter, magnificent on domestic programs, but may not have changed the world and resulted in the collapse of the Soviet Union. So you have to examine the legacy within that broader context. And so again, what did we miss?
I think one of the things that we have to consider also was how the media portrayed him. You always heard him being a peanut farmer from Georgia. That's all you heard. But they didn't talk about the fact that this was the only president that graduated from the Naval Academy.
I didn't know that.
And he was the only president that graduated from the Naval Academy. And if he was involved, if he did have a second term, I have to agree with you, where would we be today? But they kept focusing in on not only him being a peanut farmer, but Billy Bob, his brother.
They always got a brother. That's like crazy.
But they never focus in on that. And then the other thing that you have to love about him, well, you don't have to, but I do, is the fact that as a former president, he wasn't out to make the money.
Right.
He didn't have a bunch of stuff booked on, at various conventions. He didn't do all that. His thing was, how do I help? How do I improve the livelihood of my fellow man?
Although I don't think it stood long enough, I think he was the only president who was able to bring Yasser Arafat and was it Menachem Begin to bring those two together and for them to have a truce. And that was because of Jimmy Carter being able to bring them together. I don't think we've had anything like that since. And if there's anything that we're needing right now, it's for somebody to either bring Bibi Netanyahu to his knees or do something, because something's got to be done over there. But
Right.
I digress.
Right. No, the likes of Carter probably we won't see again in our lifetime. And so an American leader who is perceived as truly a fair broker.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so in contrast, the incoming administration is highly, highly biased toward Israel, toward one party. And so it's impossible to get both parties to come to the table when one party's not going to say, we already know whose side we already know. You know what I mean? So it's tremendous contrast. And so the idea that we're going to lay to rest
Fair man.
a really good, decent human being, former president, on the day that his complete polar opposite is going to be sworn in.
So let me bring up a negative. Isn't it bad that the incoming president, Donald Trump, is very upset that the flags are going to be at half mast? And I think, Sharon, you mentioned him saying, who cares?
Yeah. So in case you guys haven't heard, Trump is highly, highly peed off about the flags being flown half-mast on Inauguration Day. And his rationale is America doesn't care. Evidently, this is a person who doesn't understand protocol. Yeah, it would have been better if Jimmy Carter had died in December, early in December, but he didn't. He died when he died.
Right.
And so he can't appreciate, that's telling me going in, he can't appreciate the service that this man gave this country, in the military, his military service and his presidential service. And the fact that he is honing in on not only about the flags flying half-mast, he's also already showing concerns about the crowd size.
And I'm sure he has probably tried to give an order to not fly those flags half-mast, without a doubt. And so when he is inaugurated and he officially becomes president, there's no doubt in my mind he's going to try to give an order to raise those flags. However,
Jimmy got the last laugh.
yeah, because there's no way the military is going to raise those flags, not for a former commander-in-chief and a former graduate of the Naval Academy. There's no way they're going to raise those flags, even though I'm sure once he's sworn in, he's going to try. But no.
So Jimmy Carter, you're back with Rose, Miss Rose, and we, as we say, rest in peace and know that you did a good job here.
Goodbye, Jimmy. Gonna miss you.
So before we do our next topic, what do you think about what Biden's been doing all, these last 2 weeks?
Just sticking jabs.
You know, I had to smile when he gave Liz Cheney that Presidential Citizenship Award. He gave all of the January 6th Commission an award. That, and then also he's just as we say, is he doing too much, or is he
No.
trying to get a lot of stuff in before?
He's trying to get a lot of stuff in.
I don't blame him.
He's trying to get a lot of stuff
I don't
in.
blame him.
And the thing that will go down in history for him is that he will be a one-term president, and folks won't know why unless they read the backstory. Okay?
Right.
And I think that's a tragedy for him. I've always liked Joe Biden. I know there's a lot of things that he did, that he said. He's the reason probably why we got Clarence Thomas as well. There's a lot of stuff that went on. But I believe in redemption. I believe that people begin to see some of their old ways and the things that they're doing, and they can change. And I think that, one of our last guests said, there's no permanent enemies and no permanent friends. So I believe that that is actually true. And even though Biden has done some things that have been detrimental to black folks, I still think he's been a friend.
Now, people are complaining that, he probably could have done more in terms of getting more people off of death row. But the fact that he went ahead and got 37 people off of federal death row is amazing, and left the 3 that probably should stay on it. The Boston Marathon bomber, Dylan Roof,
And the
and-
shooter from Charlotte Church.
yeah, who shot those people.
In church. Mother Emanuel shooter.
So,
That's Dylan Ruth, wasn't
still in Roof.
it? Yeah.
But the guy who also went into that store up in that black
Pennsylvania?
neighborhood, black neighborhood, and shot those people in the store, those black folks in the store.
Oh, okay. I don't remember his
I
name.
think that's the other one. So let's go ahead and talk about if it happens. First of all, we got to see if he's going to get his vote's going to be confirmed, going to be certified. But nonetheless, he's coming whether we like it or not. So
Who's he?
Trump.
Okay.
He's coming whether we like it or not. And so, how do we prepare ourselves for him? So I'll start out. I think we need to make sure that we are aligning ourselves with people who are like minded, so that we have a support system within the group. This is probably the time we look at reactivating or becoming more involved in. I know you're going to say it. Why the NAACP? But we may want to look at these organizations to see whether or not we can reactivate them to where there would be a stronger support link within the black community. Why you shake your head?
I ain't down with nothing with the NAACP. Okay. When I think it's a great organization from the standpoint of what they are supposed to be doing. But when you have those corporations, and we have got to be able to do some things for ourselves. So when you talk about what can we do to prepare for this incoming presidency, I think there's nothing we can do if we're not going to depend on each other. We have got to depend on each other, because to continue to depend on government to do something for us, or white people to do something for us, it has proven over the last 200 years that is not going to happen. And we don't want to face the reality that it's not going to happen. And for us to try to go with the NAACP and all the corporations that they have that are white corporations that are supplying them, and their legal defense fund don't want to do anything against, people who are doing atrocities against us or whatever, I'm not for that. And when you donate to the local organization here, that money's got to go to the national. I don't want that money to go to the national. I want to be able to to work it from here. So I've got some serious issues with the NAACP. Sorry, folks, I'm still pro-black, but I got some real serious problems with the NAACP.
So me, for what can we do to Trump-proof ourselves? And I'm like, if y'all will permit me to be blunt,
Yes.
no, we need to get ourselves together. I mean, we've survived, centuries in this country, centuries of slavery, Jim Crow, Reconstruction. I mean, back then, though, we survived together by doing it together, by looking out for each other. We need to go back to that.
Yes.
Where our communities look out for each other, where we look out for each other, where we support each other. And so I was having a conversation the other day how the teachers in the community were, if we got in trouble at school, we get in trouble at home.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
Mama wasn't going up there to jump on the teacher.
Right.
Mama was gonna get on you. She was gonna get on you. Yeah.
Get on you.
And so no, I shared a post where Howard University is offering.
I saw that.
You saw the post.
So close.
And I shared it.
Within 2 years, you can get you go back to school, get your bachelor's degree from Howard, and it's completely online. Crickets. My entire timeline was flooded with people wondering why Eve's family wasn't at Christmas dinner. You know what I mean? This is our priorities. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
I shared something about education, about improving ourselves, but everybody else was wondering why Eve's family wasn't at Christmas dinner. And so we have to get ourselves together. We have to get our priorities together. And in 2025, what we need to do is uplift each other. Stop talking about each other. Stop downing each other. If we see somebody that's struggling, don't talk about them. Help them.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
If we see somebody, that needs a little bit of help in any shape, form, or fashion,
Right.
let's stop downing each other. Stop talking about each other. If you're not gonna help, shut up and get out the way.
And we need our rappers. We need our rappers to now begin to use their art for uplifting of the community itself, as opposed to the monetary value that they're looking at for themselves. That we need to get back to swing low, sweet chariot. Where we're talking about the type of stuff where we're sending messages to other black folks that the other folks, the majority of the people, don't know about. We need to be able to do those things.
Right. So we leave in 2024 behind of discord, and we take it in. We go into 2025 with unity and helping each other out and uplifting each other in our communities. And so
Right.
that's what we need to do. If you ask how we Trump proof, that's how we Trump proof.
The other thing is we need to strategically pray. Harriet Tubman, she didn't take all them folks out of wherever they from the south up to the north without praying about it, and and being very, very strategic in what she was asking for in her prayer. Martin Luther King and everybody who was involved in the civil rights movement, they were strategically praying to before they did things so that they could start seeing answers to those prayers. We need to start strategically praying. We can do the simple stuff. Dear God, thank you for taking care of my family, blah, 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 blah. But we need to be more specific. If we want Trump to change, we're going to have to strategically pray, Heavenly Father, you need to get with this man. He needs to change. We need to be very, very focused in on our prayers and be consistent with those prayers so that things can change.
I got two prayers. One is for me, and the other one is for the people that are around us. And when I talk about for me, I'm not saying for me from a selfish standpoint. I'm saying that I will change, that I will be able to do certain things toward my fellow black people, and let us have a plan to be able to affect that man, okay? Because if he changes, let's just hypothetical, if he changes and we don't change as a black people, we're still in the same situation we're in. We've got to use this as an opportunity for us to be able to change us. If we don't do that, it's an opportunity missed.
No, and that's critical. So Trump is going to be Trump, and just understand this: we survived Andrew Jackson, so we'll survive Donald Trump.
Right. And the reason I'm saying again, strategically pray that if we want Trump to change, that has to be, a critical point in the prayer. But I have to agree that part of that prayer is that strengthen us.
Strengthen us.
Strengthen us.
Strengthen us.
And I agree. And so in addition to praying strategically, you have to get up off your butt and move something. You got to
Exactly.
get up off your butt and do something, because the Lord helps those who help themselves. And faith without works,
Is dead.
there you go. There you go. So right. So you gotta pray, but then you gotta get up and move something.
That's right. Get up and move something. Like I said in the last segment, we're the only people that give up money to God, and then we pray to God for some money.
What I'm doing here is
So
seeing if we've got any
we're gonna ask see if we got any questions.
any questions. Right now, no questions.
All righty.
Well, let's close it out.
We'll close it out. Okay.
Well, this has been Contemporary Black Voices in our Hot Topics section, and we hope that you can put what we say and think about it within your own context. But this is 2025. I think Chris, Curtis, and myself, we want to wish you a happy new year. We pray that this new year brings you the things that you're looking for, and for you and your family, and for you and your family. And with that being said, this is Contemporary Black Voices, where we're telling our story our way.
Okay.